Um, we are so grateful to the generosity of our speakers and how they've captured this vision, and the generosity of their time and effort and energies and talents is just remarkable. And today we're privileged to have Tom Thibodeau's boss with us. He told me to say that. Dr. Rick Kyte, the head of the Reinhardt Institute on Business and Ethics, is here with us, comes highly recommended, and we're deeply appreciative. Give him a warm welcome. Rick Kyte.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. I had no idea that this group was so big. When I first talked to Terry, I don't know, a few months ago, it wasn't this big a group. That's why you don't have that many handouts. I was able to put one or two on each table. But it's great to be here. I teach at a university founded by nuns where the biggest program is nursing. And it's unusual to have so much testosterone in one room. I've been teaching ethics for over 20 years. And a lot of people ask me, why did you go into ethics? What made you decide that? And I'm not sure, because I didn't like taking classes in ethics when I was an undergraduate. It's just that as I started studying things, I went on to school and started thinking, I thought, I want to do something that's really useful, and that's useful for me personally, as being a father and just being a community member. And as I started studying more of ethics academically, I thought there's a real need here because I don't like the way it's taught. I don't like this talk of abstract theories that seem to have no connection to what we're doing. So I was going through graduate school. My wife and I were running a miniature golf course in Colorado. I was going to grad school in Baltimore. Every summer we drive back to Colorado, run a miniature golf course. And when you're running a business, even if it's a real small business, you're confronted with ethical issues on a daily basis. How do you advertise while being truthful and honest about what you're advertising? How do you deal with conflicts with customers when they think you said one thing and you think you said another? How do you deal with an employee who's incompetent, who's a really nice person, but just can't do what you ask them to do? Okay? What if you develop trust issues? What if you have conflict among employees? You know, it's all these things. And I had a real hard time understanding how anything I was studying about ethics helped me to figure out what to do. When I tried to figure out what to do, I would always go back to significant people in my life, and I'd think through, now, how do they handle that kind of issue? Now, what's really significant is whenever I would try to do that, the people that I would really trust about how to handle something, especially in conflict with other people, would be Christians, right? Because they wouldn't automatically fall to just a kind of a defensiveness or anger or self-interest. There'd be a genuine trust. How do I enact the commandment to love my neighbor, right? How do I enact the golden rule? There's real concerns. Now, when I started thinking about how does that fit in what I'm studying about ethics, well, it did in a way, but I had to go way back to the same kind of context in which out of which the Old Testament and New Testament arise. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the idea of the virtues and the vices, these traditional moral concepts that are first articulated by the Greeks, but we find them in every culture. And it's out of this context that Paul is writing. And when he's writing about virtues of faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is love, right? He's writing out of a context and also in response to Greek and Roman conceptions of the virtues, which he assumes is understood by everybody there. But at the time that I was studying ethics academically, that was all pretty much ignored, right? It was all about how do we apply certain abstract principles to situations. And I just think it's bogus. Okay? And it took me a long time of teaching ethics to figure out how to teach it better. And I've been working on that project for a number of years now. Just published a book this summer that's a result of that work, trying to give my best experience. How do we teach ethics? How do we understand it? And one of the handouts at your table has a little self-promoting flyer on one side, but the other side is is a kind of one-sheet basic summary of this.